Hi, welcome to the Kissy Yard chat room, and we're going to be having a little, what's the word, tete-a-tete with Ger Eaton, the wonderful Ger Eaton. His recent single "Hollow" has taken Ireland by storm. Wonderful, wonderful song. And Ger, how are you? How are you coping with the lockdown?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, yeah. I'm staying creative and staying as positive as I can, But yeah, it's all good.
And it is your birthday today, so
It
happy birthday
is. It's
from
my
all of us.
birthday, indeed. Thank you very much. Yeah, yeah.
And
Uh, another one by the wayside.
so your single "Hollow," we were chatting a little bit earlier on. Can you tell us just a little bit about that process of creating the song "Hollow" and from the writing of it lyrically and to the recording process?
Yeah, I mean, Hollow. It was one of those songs that came very, very quickly, and that doesn't always happen. Um, we've as songwriters, you understand the process as well, and sometimes it happens really quickly, and sometimes you're working on something for weeks, and it seems like hard work. So hollow came really from the seed was the word hollow. It was how I felt it on a particular day. I was feeling a bit low, and I just wrote down that one word as how I kind of felt. It was the only thing that seemed to sort of sum it up. And I came back to it that evening then, and started the process with the chords and so on. And within the next 24 or 48 hours, I had the whole thing written. So I've worked closely with a friend of mine, Duncan Maitland, um, since I've started doing the solo stuff. And Duncan used to be with Picture House and Pug Wash and people. So I sent it to him. I demoed it and sent it to him. And what normally happens with Duncan is I can read his reaction very, very clearly. So when he's positive, it's brimming over. It's overflow. And he was back really quickly with we've got to do this song. We got to do this. Has to be the song we do. And um, he always starts sort of, it reminds me of this, or this kind of thing. And I think, as I said to you earlier on, when I sent it to him, it was a little bit more downbeat and a bit more kind of, it was slower as well, slightly slower in tempo, and it just was a bit more depressing. Which, I mean, the lyric is quite depressing, but the sound of the song was a bit more depressing. And Duncan referenced "First Time I Ever Saw Your Face," which is from the "Play Misty for Me" film, and he said it just sort of conjured up that image to him of something from that kind of era, and that was how we began. Then the uh, the direction that it took, which is kind of Scott Walker keeps being mentioned by people, and that wasn't
It does
it
indeed,
wasn't our
Scott.
intention to. Not that I wouldn't be resistant to that whatsoever, but we were certainly thinking Jimmy Webb, and we were thinking that kind of the Glenn Campbell, Jimmy Webb sort of collaborations, those songs. That was kind of our thing, and certainly West Coast, Wrecking Crew type of sound and that kind of thing again, which Glenn Campbell would be the connection there as well. So we decided I'd been pushing to work on 4-track tape uh, with Duncan for a while. I just wanted to go back to that kind of move away from the digital and the the amount of tracks that you've got digital. There's so much you can do, and you can fix things, and it'd be okay in the mix, that kind of phrase. So I wanted to move away from that and really go, look, great songs are made on 4 tracks back in the day. So let's can we do that? Can we plan this out and kind of make it happen? So we brought in, there's one other friend was involved in the project, a friend of mine called Sean Coleman from San Francisco originally, and he's based here now. Great musician, great multi instrumentalist, fixes all my gear as well. He's the man for fixing vintage gear as well. He can fix anything, and he would service my tape machines and that kind of thing as well. So I just kind of thought that was the dream team. It was me, Duncan, and Sean. We can all play various things. We know how to make things. We had the same direction and taste. So Sean, we went down to his workshop. It's not a studio really. It's where he fixes everything, and we just recorded it all down there. So, you know, he's got loads of old mics and old compressors, and I have loads of old things, and Duncan's got loads. You know, so we just pooled everything together and you know, thought about how we wanted to put the stuff down. I think the first take was me on drums. I think Duncan maybe played bass and bits of percussion or something. So we put all that down onto one track, and you know, so we were very, you know, mixing as we go, really.
So it's a real sound. It's a real sound that's happening there, you know, which is great, you know.
You can't go back and undo it, you know. And even at the end of the first day session, we'd filled up our 4 tracks, and then we sub-mixed off onto tape again into mono. So everything from that first session all went onto one track. So that would have been drums, bass, acoustic, percussion and stuff, bit of backup vocals, I think maybe. That all went off into one mono track, and that came back to tape again, and then we went again. So there was no going back to those things.
I must say you did nail that 60s sound, you know. First time I heard it, and I went, wow, that was the sound more than anything. Yeah. Even more so than the song, which is a wonderful song.
Yeah.
But I just listened to that sound.
Probably. Yeah.
And it came to me, and I went, well, I found my song of the week. And it was our song of the week, because it was great.
Have you ever felt hollow? Have you ever felt the sea as you're resting in the shallows and the waves are rising? Is there a higher grace, somewhere a higher place, where the waters cannot reach? Have you ever felt beaten by a cold and raging wind that sweeps all that's before it, laying bare a furrowed skin? A single teardrop forms a lonely river, and it turns a shoulder to its origin. Still I stumble on, for a father's love seeks the shelter from within. And have you ever felt hollow, like me?
So you've worked with other bands. We've had you here at the Cusick Yard Festival playing with a band called Pale, and which was a wonderful night. And you've got different creations that you work with. The Carnival Brothers, is that right?
Yeah, Carnival Brothers was I always describe it as a project rather than a band, I suppose, which I'll probably have to qualify what I mean. But there was really myself and a friend of mine, John Walsh, who was in bands back in the 80s as well. He's from Cavan originally, and my first band was in the 80s. Now, I actually didn't know John at that stage, but we would have come from a similar, you know, we were both in bands, probably same kind of age in the 80s, trying to make it, you know, trying to get the record deal. And at that stage, it was English labels coming over, you were hoping to check you out, all that kind of crack. So we both went through the same sort of stuff, and he stayed in music after the band you know, when he gave up on the band thing, he stayed. He works in music for television and films, and he first time I worked with him was, it could be like 20 years ago or something maybe. He rang me to see would I do a vocal on an ad he was doing for Smirnoff Ice or something, or something some drink anyway, and so I'd never done anything like that before, and I was like, yeah, I'll do that. So I came down to his studio. He had a studio at the time, and worked with him on it, and we just got on great. You know, we just worked really well, and it was like a mini song. It wasn't a jingle. You know, it was like a little piece of a song kind of thing. And so all over the years, I did loads of those with him. You know, if he ever needed a male vocal, I'd get the call and I'd go over to the studio and we'd hang out for the afternoon and have great crack. And they were always like little songs, you know. So he said to me, he kept saying, we must release one of these songs, we must release one of these songs. And eventually a song called The Sun Is Gonna Shine was, we were working on that for another alcohol ad, Canadian beer. And he said, this is the one we're going to put out, you know. And so
great song, great video as well.
Yeah, so that was all, you know, like that video just really it all just kind of
and
clicked.
the dancing.
I mean, yeah, and like I had to do dance rehearsals. I mean, I've never had to do anything like that before. But with these burlesque dancers obviously coming in, and we had another one who wasn't. I don't think she didn't appear in the video, but she was kind of choreographing and working at the routine with them. So we had to rehearse all that, and we did it all on one take. So it was
I've seen that.
Everything had to move very. You know, we did it so many times, like we did it all day long, over and over and over and over and over, because people had to keep moving from one position to the next position and running up through the forest to get to the next bit, and like it was all very, it had to roll very smoothly. So it was great fun, and it just really worked, you know. So.
You're the color in my dream, my shooting star and my moonbeam, the ocean to my lonely stream, the movie to my only scene. Say the word and we'll jump that midnight train.
what I mean by it, that it's a project really rather than a band. Like I think we released, I think all in all, we released maybe 4 or 5 singles, or there was an EP and maybe 3 or 4 singles. And we did a couple of did Mary McCallum TV show and Brendan O'Connor TV show, and so we got good traction with it and stuff. And but yeah, I think John just kind of then just went back to the film stuff, and I mean, every time we chat, he always says, oh, we must release something else. So it may happen again. It's kind of it's not. It's like that. It's a project. It's not a band. Like we didn't break up and we're never talking.
It's a bit like the Lemonade Marinade project. So
yeah, exactly. It's like you can reignite at any time, and everybody would just roll in and go, let's do that again. And if it was just for a handful of gigs and gone again, that'd be fine.
Well, it's probably a good time rather to let people know that you hopefully will be involved in the next Lemonade Marinade song, and so we're looking forward to that. So
definitely, absolutely, yeah.
And so we'll be.
I love Lemonade, especially coming into the summer months.
see, that's the thing about it. See, the Marinade is the blend of all the musicians, and Lemonade is that fizz that's added to it, and you are the lemonade for the next project.
Well, I'm in lemon today anyway, so yeah.
You've got your lemonade. That's your birthday jumper, is it?
It is actually. It was my wife knitted it for me actually, and gave it to me this morning.
Yeah, another thing. You've absolutely amazing house. I've seen the program where your house was looked at as one of the homes of the year, and it's an amazing house, and it's just full of 60s and 70s look, everywhere. I mean, it's just a splice of color, It's amazing. So,
there's not many white walls in the
house now. No. Yeah. Do you still add to it, or have you any space left?
Okay. Look, we were actually this morning. We were photographing some chairs that we might be selling, because we've my wife acquired a few extra chairs there recently, a little 2-seater couch and 2 extra chairs. So we've more chairs than we need. So it was kind of we had to do a bit of a cull. So yeah, sometimes things come in, but we're at a point where if something comes in of that size, something's got to go, because it's just not physically.
It's amazing. Just to see outside your house until you go inside, it's like getting into a Doctor Who's TARDIS, It's like
you never suspect from the outside. No,
it's unbelievable.
I did toy with one time when we were doing a bit of an extension a few years ago, and I was looking at the Apple building in when the Beatles had the Apple building back in the day, and I think it was all painted all kind of psychedelic on the outside. I think they got one of their artist pals to do all that mural on the wall, and I was actually toying with the idea with if we had a white exterior on the extension, could we do something like that on the outside, but we didn't. But,
it's a planning permission, I think, for something like that. Possibly.
Yeah, I wonder, would you? Maybe you would, yeah.
What's your next project? Are you going to record another single on the Ger Eaton? And is it going to be an album?
I'm working with. There's a song in the pipeline. I did a session with Duncan there last week actually, and funnily we went with. I went down to him with one song, thinking that was the one we were going to work on, and we did work on it a bit. And I don't know why, but I came home then at night or the next morning or something, and took up the guitar and wrote another one. And funnily, back to the Scott Walker thing again, I don't have a huge amount of Scott Walker, funnily enough. I mean, I like him, but I don't actually. I've been meaning to get more of his stuff. And Duncan gave me a lend of Scott 4 on vinyl when I was down with him. Now, Duncan likes Scott Walker, but doesn't love Scott Walker. He's not like, he doesn't adore the worship at the altar of Scott Walker either. But like loves the sound and all that kind of thing. But he's not like, some people absolutely adore him. So he's not one of them. So so I took away the Scott 4 album and I was listening to it the following day a few times, and I think I was inspired actually by one song in particular, which I won't say. There was just something about like the rhythm of it and stuff. I thought, oh, that'd be kind of cool, and I just grabbed my guitar and came up with another idea, and sent that back to him, demoed it here again, sent it back to him, and I think that might be the one we're actually going to do. So, in a funny, weird way, by working on this other song, it's led me to this.
That happens,
different
yeah.
song. So, but the other song is good too, and it's still there. Will I do an album? When you said an album, I don't know. It's not my. I'm not saying I won't, but I'm not thinking. Oh, I definitely need to do an album. I think I'm just going to do one song at a time and just
See what happens.
see what happens. Yeah, because the Pale will be, probably, hopefully later this year we'll be kicking back into gear. We're making the plan.
Wonderful live band, by the way, and I enjoyed your guitar playing on that.
It was great. It was. I've given with different bands over the years, and Mundy and Jack L on drums sometimes and on keyboard sometimes, and did some Duke Special and stuff. And I love playing with everybody, and everybody. All those projects have something different about them. But the Pale, it was really, or is still. It's a really interesting. I've been kind of given free rein to play whatever I kind of want, and so if I feel it needs to be a bit of guitar or a bit of keyboard or whatever, I can kind of do whatever I feel. And because there's no other keyboard player in the band and there's no other guitarist in the band either, so yeah, it's actually quite a nice little space to be trying to fill or to be asked to fill, So so fingers crossed we get it all back later in the year. I think there's tickets being sold for a gig in November already, so let's hope that actually.
Well, hopefully I'll be there. I'd like to see that myself. But thanks a lot, Ger, for chatting this here on the Kitchen Yard, and we're looking forward to your next single, and we're looking forward to all your music projects, because you've taken 2021 especially by storm so far. So I think you're going to do so much more. It's just to me, it's a breath of fresh air. What you're doing, it's great. So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, appreciate the support as well, So thank you.
And we'll see you soon.